Today we're going to talk about what the name Zarahemla means. I was reading in the book of Omni the other day, and I came across the first instance where we find the name Zarahemla in the Book of Mormon. And I was really interested in finding out what it means. In order to understand this, we have to go all the way back to the time of Lehi. So Lehi leaves Jerusalem during the reign of King Zedekiah. And they come across to the American continent and build a civilization that we call the Nephites and the Lamanites. King Zedekiah, a few years later, was captured by the Babylonians, and his children were all executed. However, we learn from the Book of Mormon that there was at least one of his sons who wasn't killed. Scholars think that maybe he was just too young, maybe he was carried away in the night by some servants. We're not exactly sure. But this son's name was Mulek. So Mulek also finds his way over to the Americas, but they never meet up with the Lehites. So they always stay as two separate groups here. One of the main differences is that Lehi brought over records with had writing on them that they could read. They taught their children how to read, and they kept these records, and so they kept their language basically the same as when they left. The Mulekites, however, didn't have any records when they came, and so their language got completely changed around to the point where later on when these two groups meet, they have no idea how to communicate to each other, and they have to be taught their language in order to be able to understand each other. This also means that they probably didn't have any type of history or anything that was recorded. Everything that they had was just talking to each other, word of mouth, oral tradition. When the Nephites come into the land of Zarahemla, the people of Zarahemla accept Mosiah as king over all of them. This probably has to do with the sword of Laban which he brings with him, and we'll probably address that in another episode. This is what the scriptures say about when they first meet. And they were led by the power of his arm through the wilderness until they came down into the land, which is called the land of Zarahemla. And they discovered a people who were called the people of Zarahemla. Now there was great rejoicing among the people of Zarahemla, and also Zarahemla did rejoice exceedingly, because the Lord had sent the people of Mosiah with the plates of brass, which contained the record of the Jews. In these couple verses, it uses the word Zarahemla a lot. It's talking about the ruler of the people at the time, the land that they're living on, and the name of the people themselves. They call themselves the people of Zarahemla. Okay, most scholars, when they look at this, guess that it's two words, Zerah and Hemla. Both of these words look pretty Hebrew, Zerah and Hemla. So the first word is probably Zarah, which means descendant or posterity of. When it's translated in the Bible, it's usually talking about seed, children, offspring, and also like planting seeds too. So they're kind of the same. The second part is Hemla. And Hemla means compassion or mercy, but it's closely related to the word Hemal. Hemal means to be spared. So when you put these two together, it means the children or the descendants of someone who was spared, which seems a lot like Mulek, the guy who escaped from being executed with all of his brothers and his father. Zarahemla became the capital city of the Nephites from this time basically until the end of the Book of Mormon, and all of their politics revolve around this city. It's probably something that would have been put pretty deeply in their mind, not only descendants of being one that was spared, but being descendants of compassion, always thinking about the Lord's tender mercies to the people. I think that we probably see this reflected at the end of Moroni when he gives his super famous promise, and he says that, I would exhort you that when ye shall read these things, if it be wisdom in God that ye should read them, that ye would remember how merciful the Lord hath been unto the children of men, from the creation of Adam, even down until the time that ye shall receive these things. So when he talks about this, he doesn't just say, remember how merciful the Lord is, but he's talking about the mercy of the Lord and how it is descended through generations, talking about both Hemla and Zerah. Now, we don't have a copy of the original Book of Mormon. We don't have those brass plates or those ruins, and so we can't be sure exactly what each of these names actually would mean in the original Hebrew language. But we have to take our best guesses, and it's really cool to see some of these connections that seem a little bit better than coincidence. Well, that's all I've got for you. What do you think? Does the name Zarahemla mean the descendant of one that is spared? Does it have another meaning? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down there. If you want to see more videos that I've done in the past, click over here somewhere. If you want to see future videos, you can subscribe. Hit my face, right? I'll put it right here. And I'll see you next week.